And I think it's time for us to move on to our first topic, which I think, because it kind of ties in a little nicely to Thomas's what we've been playing. Um, Specifically, we are going to be talking about Microsoft says Call of Duty is going to stay on PlayStation and maybe be on every console forever. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
I felt this way after, like, my first impressions of this deal. I thought Call of Duty was going exclusive, and just after reflection, I just thought, "There's no way. It's just too much money to be left on the table. You don't pay nearly $70 billion to just basically devolve all that money into Game Pass.
Sure. Well,
Like, you spend some for that, but you don't spend the entire thing for that. The majority of it for that.
I'm glad you bring that up because I kind of wanted to seed this conversation a little bit with something specific, which is Brad Smith. I looked a little bit into Brad Smith's vision of a universal app store for games. Do you think that has I'm starting to think that has a place to exist, because the only other comparison really is the App Store or apps on app stores, and it really doesn't hurt Apple's or Microsoft's or Android sales when apps are shared between both platforms. So is there legs to stand on for a universal app store for
Now
video gaming?
that's been confusing me, because are we saying, because when we say Microsoft, Android, iOS, I don't know Microsoft's app store. All I know is the Xbox store. And the Xbox store is like, at this moment in time, it wouldn't make sense to put the Xbox store on PlayStation. You know, like,
Well,
I like.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was
what do
kind
you
of
mean by
confused.
like a universal app store?
Well,
'Cause I don't-
we
go ahead.
mentioned it. We mentioned it. We mentioned a couple weeks ago. Someone on the podcast mentioned a couple weeks ago the idea of just having Game Pass available on PlayStation. Why not? How does that hurt them in any way?
No, I think it benefits Xbox. I mean, Microsoft.
It benefits Microsoft. It doesn't benefit their console sales, but they've shown a kind of a bird's eye view of the situation that they don't care about that in the long run. They care about developing Xbox as a brand.
As a platform.
The long run, they want to get subscribers because they think 10 years from now, consoles won't exist. So they want to get ahead of the game and they want to get people on Game Pass. And I guess you could look at it the other way and say, well, PlayStation could say now it benefits them because then no one would buy an Xbox. If they could put Game Pass on PlayStation, then hey, buy a PlayStation and you have everything. But I think Microsoft was playing the long game.
Well, also with all this news comes the announcement that Microsoft wants Call of Duty on the Switch and other Activision games.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, actually. Xbox has been playing this very, we are the players. This is where the players live. Like, we are pro players, so anything that can be seen to, we want everyone to play. Like, that is Xbox's stance, and I mean, to be honest, they've been sticking with that. We've seen Game Pass, where it is, we've been saying, the most incredible deal in gaming, where you can get so many games for such a low price, and that's the benefit of so many gamers. We've seen Microsoft trying to make everything first party on Game Pass day and date. They've been doing very gamer pro
Friendly
moves. Yeah, so I don't
pro gamer moves.
Yeah, pro gamer moves, sure. So I definitely don't doubt them when they say, "Oh, we want to put this on Nintendo Switch." Now, whether the Nintendo Switch can handle that, that's an entirely different question. But I could definitely see it where
Call of Duty,
exactly.
Yeah,
they can for sure utilize their cloud gaming services that Nintendo now has. So I could definitely see them doing that. But I do want to say this actually shocked me when this news first came out, because Xbox specifically was tiptoeing around, is Call of Duty going to come to PlayStation after the next 3 games, or aren't they? We're not really going to say. And PlayStation was like, you guys better do it, basically.
Yeah.
And Microsoft has not explicitly said that would happen until now, but they did say for, that they will honor existing agreements as well as extending far past that. And now, technically, they didn't say forever, so there's still a possibility where, they pull it back and say, okay, in 10 years, Xbox is going to have Call of Duty on consoles and PC, no PlayStation. And by then, hopefully, PlayStation is in a better place where they have first-person shooters that could compete with Call of Duty on that end. But it did shock me that they finally said, like, two weeks after they could have easily said, hey, it's going to be available to everyone. No, now they're going to say it. But they still look good because everyone's looking at Xbox going like, good for you, Xbox, making sure everyone can still play together.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Does anyone else have any takes on this? Because this is a hard to take in news.
What's more interesting to me than the Call of Duty news is some of the stuff they lead with about how they're going to run their app store, because it's seemingly addressing some of the issues that developers have with PlayStation and others, and also addresses some of the subject of the Epic Apple lawsuit.
Yeah.
Apple
Apple lawsuit.
Apple v Epic. Specifically in this section about fairness and transparency. We will treat apps equally in our app store without unreasonable preference or ranking of our apps or business partners' apps over others. And we will be transparent about rules for promotion and marketing. This specifically feels like PlayStation catch up.
Yeah.
And marketing in our app store and apply these consistently and objectively. There have been quite a lot. I think there was an IGN report actually about indie games kind of being left behind by PlayStation and not understanding how they could possibly promote their game, or like the sentiment being like, you really need to know somebody in PlayStation to get your shit promoted. And then developer choice, this first line: we will not require developers in our app store to use payment systems to use our payment system to process in-app payments. I mean, that was the Epic Apple lawsuit. God, I said that 10 times fast. So it seems like this is interesting because this is a no-lose scenario for Microsoft. They get to proactively make consumer and dev favoring decisions in advance of potential regulation to combat the idea that they need to be broken up because they're becoming too big and because they own a vertical. It's an interesting move. It's also interesting that this news comes after the Bungie acquisition news, in the way that, like, there's the highlighting of Call of Duty being available on other platforms, and not just to the current contracts, which Phil Spencer already mentioned, but beyond, and then coming to Switch as well, which is not, is not stated out and out, but is certainly implied, I think.
Yeah. So you're theorizing that this is really just to, like, shake off the trust busters. They don't want anyone to come looking at them in the future.
I think they have the most to worry about in terms of any antitrust investigation. But I never expected that this would end in anything less than this Activision Blizzard deal going through. I think Microsoft is just, it's in the title, adapting ahead of regulation. We are going to anticipate a problem, and we are going to move ahead of the problem so that the problem never has a chance to rear its head.
Which makes sense considering all of the news about, I think the FCC is already saying that they're going to be looking at the Microsoft acquisition deal specifically because of the monopoly conversation that, Microsoft is too big and they might have a monopoly on the gaming industry because of this giant merger. But yeah, I'm kind of with Ben where I didn't foresee any problem, but it's smart to get ahead of it in case that there could be anything.
But I think that begs the question. Did you ever expect in all your years of living on this earth that Microsoft would herald in a utopian age of gaming? And B, do you think that will actually happen? Any of this will stick true for more than maybe 10 years?
Well, Ben said something. They came out and said that after Sony got Bungie. So it's kind of like, hey, we're gonna leave Call of Duty up. Now we hope y'all do the same. But what happens if Sony were to pull Bungie, or if Microsoft were to pull Activision? Then it's just become a war, and they just start pulling all their whatever companies they own. If Microsoft buys Take-Two, they pull Grand Theft Auto, they pull Call of Duty, Sony pulls Bungie.
I don't get the sense that that's where this is going. I don't think
there's too much money on the line.
Yeah, right. It seems like we're past the point of like, okay, let's buy as many toys as we can and keep them in our sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like all of these companies are realizing at once we are really only limiting our upside by making sure that you can only get these games on our platforms. And yeah, it might sell the platforms, but how much longer does the platform exist? The platform is like, as a brand, as a digital entity, is worth way more than the box. Sure. So let's get the brand everywhere.
But you don't think they're seeing that this battle like 10 years from now is going to be whether you have like Hulu versus Netflix, PlayStation versus Xbox, and it's going to be content versus content. Which one has the better content? You know?
I mean,
that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know.
You're thinking this is content v content?
Yeah, I think in the long haul, I think it is.
Exclusive versus exclusive.
Yeah. I think in the future you're going to have a Hulu versus Netflix versus Disney Plus, and whoever has the best content is going to ultimately have the more subscribers. You know?
Well, not if Xbox Game Pass is on other platforms. Then that's like that to me is the big thing for me. Where it's like,
and that's what I'm saying. If
it wouldn't be it wouldn't be an X versus X thing anymore, because
it would be because
PlayStation had
the Game Pass.
Yeah, but Xbox won't be considered a console at that point.
No, Game Pass. I'm talking about the service Game Pass. Whether it's an app on your smart TV, on your phone, on your PlayStation, on your Xbox, it's the service. They're battling for the subscribers.
Sure.
Like the Game Pass service versus the PlayStation service. And consoles, just put consoles out the window. Like they don't exist. These are on PC, they're on smart TVs, all kinds of devices. That's what I'm saying.
I
just like Disney Plus, just like Disney Plus, and
I get
Netflix.
What you're saying, but
devices.
I just don't think that PlayStation even thinks they can compete on that level with them. Like, I don't think there's anything that PlayStation can develop that can ever be Game Pass.
Well, no. Isn't this kind of the opposite though? It's kind of like a diffusion of content. It's getting content out to as many people as they can, because there's really in the content wars, isn't that what matters most? It doesn't. Sure, the Mandalorian's good, but it would be better if it was on Netflix and Hulu. But
look at it, Disney though, they don't do that. Disney doesn't do that. They don't put Mandalorian on Netflix and Hulu. There's a battle for
Xbox
content.
Wants to do that though. They want to put Game Pass
for
on
now.
Everything.
That's right. But you're not.
I don't think for now.
Step.
I think for perpetuity, because I think they want to get out of the console race.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying that Netflix has theirs on everything. There's a Netflix app on everything. Game Pass wants to be on everything. So the battle would be if Game Pass is on everything, Netflix is on everything, PlayStation Plus or whatever is on everything. So the battle is between the services, not between the consoles. And the content does matter. We know it does because it matters between Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus. Yeah, Disney Plus doesn't put theirs on everything.
But there's a couple ways to do this, and there's the ways that I think Disney Plus does it this way, where you can only access Disney Plus exclusive shows through Disney Plus subscription, and you can't like buy Blu-rays of them, for instance.
Yeah.
Whereas I think other shows, if I recall correctly, like House of Cards on Netflix. You can buy Blu-rays.
Yeah, I have Daredevil.
I've seen him in Barnes.
I have the Daredevil on Blu-ray.
And there are plenty of other shows where you can watch them on a subscription service and then purchase them a la carte off of iTunes or Apple TV, I guess.
See,
And so that seems like where Microsoft is headed to me. They never say anywhere that we are not going to include these include Call of Duty in your Game Pass subscription.
Yeah.
I think we can just
assume
expect
that's going to happen.
that Call of Duty will be included in your Game Pass subscription. So Call of Duty, part of this, they could have done an exclusive licensing agreement with Activision, but part of this is we can have these Activision Blizzard games available on Game Pass with much less friction.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, but we will still collect all of the sales that we would have otherwise from all of the other platforms. And we'll also endeavor to expand that reach so that it's available for purchase. We can get, because really the purchase price, like we're thinking too small here. The purchase price of these games is not where the real money is made. It's made on the microtransactions. So they want to get as many people in as many places as possible in the door.
Yeah. Hence Sony's 10 live service games.
So that you can buy your map packs, so that you can buy your skins, you know, so you can buy your battle passes.
If it worked for Tencent, it can work for Xbox.
Well, yeah, let's first it worked for Apple.
So what is the long game then? I mean, like if that's all they want to do is just get their content out as many places as possible, then why even have Game Pass? Why not just
I just don't think that
Microsoft put everything on PlayStation. Why not put everything on PlayStation? Why hold Bethesda? Why hold anything? Starfield is an exclusive IP.
I have a theory about that.
I mean, I guess because they're multiplayer games.
I have a theory about all of their acquisitions. Maybe less so than titles and games, which is what everyone's focusing on. It's also talent and technology acquisition. I think people are kind of just sort of assuming that it's titles and games, but I think there's a lot of good talent and technology that they're swooping up, and hopefully will utilize very effectively.
I completely agree.
Why I think this could be a utopian gamer moment. But I don't know.
To answer your question, though, Cole, I do think that is where it's headed, because there's even precedents for Xbox games on other consoles already. So this first happened, I believe, with Ori and the Blind Forest. Like, that came to Nintendo Switch, and it's still on it. It's not on Game Pass. Game Pass isn't even on Nintendo Switch, but you can get that Xbox first-party game on your Nintendo Switch, right on the Nintendo eShop.
So do you think like 10 years from now, Xbox will just want to put Halo and everything, just Sony, to have it everywhere? They just want to be everywhere. They want their games everywhere, because I think they want Game Pass everywhere, not their games.
I think there's a balance. I think
like a la carte. I think and within Game Pass, but not.
Yeah, they want Game Pass everywhere.
I don't think they want like you to be able to buy a PS5 copy of Halo.
And I personally don't buy this idea that Game Pass is ever going to be on PlayStation. And that's not because of Xbox. That's because of PlayStation.
Oh yeah, no, that would be so dumb.
Hold up, that's absolutely hold up. Yeah,
PlayStation will have their Game Pass equivalent. I assume. I mean, Spartacus is rumored; it's on the way. So how good that service is, we'll have to see. But there is an idea of competition in this game. This subscription space. So I don't see PlayStation just like opening the doors. It doesn't seem like their style. So I think what we're going to be looking at here is this is the suite of Xbox Game Pass games. When you subscribe to Xbox Game Pass, you can play them on PC, you can play them on Xbox, and you can buy them elsewhere for some games. And then it'll be the same thing for PlayStation. You can play Spartacus on your PlayStation. You can buy PlayStation titles on Steam as well. And things will expand out. It's not going to be like everything everywhere all at once, but within the next, I mean, you have to assume within the next couple of generations, the game console will be less and less valuable as a thing. I mean, we've been saying that forever, but but if game streaming can really take off, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It will. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of when. It might be 100 years from now, but it will be.
Well,
here
also
one day.
level of accessibility too, where it's like a majority of the world can access cloud gaming. Like that's when we reach that point in time, we'll know.
Yeah,
and that'll be a while.
Very.
I feel like.
it is funny that we're even having this conversation because we've mentioned it before that Xbox used to be a really sneaky, stingy gaming company. They used to really latch onto all their content. But I remember the first time I realized that Xbox was moving into a more let's get everything out there and be really open situation. And it was Banjo-Kazooie coming to Smash. Because I remember an interview with Craig Duncan from Rare, and he said the reason Xbox was okay with it was because of Minecraft. Minecraft opened up the idea to Xbox because they put it on, they got it on Switch and it sold like hotcakes. And they were like, well, why do we have a bad relationship with Nintendo? We should have a good relationship with Nintendo because they can put our games out there.
That reminds me. Do y'all remember? I think we talked about it on this podcast, and I think I was the one that brought it up. So Xbox used to have a policy where if there was a game that was released on another platform first as a timed exclusive or whatnot, they would not they would not bring the game to Xbox.
Right.
That used to be their policy, and it hit them with a few big games that they would not bring over to Xbox because they were released on PlayStation first with time exclusive. That was back in like the 360 days. That's crazy. That's crazy.
This is really
how harsh they used to be.
Some weird developing news, and I assume this is going to be a continuing news story. Like every couple of months, we're going to get some weird update from Xbox's strange acquisitions and strange practices with Game Pass.
Well, look, they're becoming so consumer friendly. And they've been riding this ship, and we've talked about it. We've talked about it when we first started this, and we were like, they're trending in the right direction, and Sony is becoming. Sony's not. They're not doing that, or they haven't been. Maybe they're trying to now, but I don't know.
Only because they have to.
No, viewers at home. Let's be clear. Cole's right. Dukes of Gaming has been talking about Xbox's more friendly attitude to gamers since the very genesis of this podcast.
Yes,
these blokes convinced me because I used to be a Sony stan.
8 years.
I used to be a Sony stan forever. I was like Sony all the way. I'm never going to buy an Xbox. But then I started thinking about it. Do I want a PS5 or an Xbox? I don't want a PS5 anymore.
I bought an Xbox the day they bought Activision. I just got caught in the hype. I just got crazy. I was like dizzy. I was blacked out. I went to Best Buy before you knew it. You know, I had an Xbox and I was playing Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I still remember when they announced Game Pass, and I remember everybody going like, "This is going to be lame. They're going to have the lamest games. This is going to be a failed experiment." And now you telling me they're going to have Call of Duty day one on Game Pass? Crazy. No. In addition to everything else that they already have.
Look, PlayStation was consumer friendly on that E3 in 2013 when they came out there. Oh, this is how you trade games on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Trade them like this. You know what? And they blew Xbox out the water for the foreseeable future. For the next
did Xbox get booed?
They did.
Y'all, I was jumping around my living room. I was like going crazy. It was incredible.
That probably rattled them. It did. So
PlayStation was consumer friendly because they were playing catch up. Because even though they ultimately won that generation, they did not control that generation like Xbox 360 did. And then now that they have the power, they're leading the ship. They're leading the whole industry. Now I feel like they're tightening. They're tight, and Xbox is in that situation. They're becoming consumer friendly, and Sony is becoming like I don't know, a little bit overconfident.
Hey, well, all I can say is stay tuned to the Dukes of Gaming. We're going to be covering this forever because we're fully invested now, and.
I'm a PlayStation fanboy, by the way. I'll never ever like any other console besides PlayStation.
We're all rooting.
I'll play a PlayStation 2 any day.
New for 2078. PlayStation 9's new electronic spores tap straight into your adrenal gland. PS9 has improved retinal scanning. A mind control system. Holographic movie surround vision. And telepathic personal music. The Ultimate just got better. PlayStation 9. Teleport yours today.
Yeah.